Hi, my name is Mike Conley. I'm the owner of Property Management Inc. here in the East Bay. You know, I've seen a lot of leases in my years as a property manager. I've seen the Apartment Owners Association lease, the California Association of Realtors lease. I've seen leases downloaded off the internet. They all cover the basics: how much the rent is, when it's due, the lease term. But what we need to talk about here in this video are some additional essentials that you want to have in your lease. And there's actually 6 of them we're going to cover. Number 1, you want to make sure your lease is easy to read. We break our lease down into 44 easy to read sections, and each section has to be initialed by the tenant moving in. Actually, every tenant over 18 needs to initial all 44 sections of the lease. This way, we know they've read the lease, and that will eliminate any communication problems down the road where a tenant might say, "I did not know that was in the lease." So make sure that your lease is easy to read. Second of all, you want to have who covers what when it comes to repairs in your lease. Section 8 of our lease outlines what the owner covers in terms of maintenance repairs, things like a fence blowing down, an appliance going out, a water heater leaking, but it also covers in the lease what the tenant is responsible for: ants, rodents, toilet clogs, batteries in the smoke alarm. So those are all covered in the lease, and they should be covered in yours. Number 3, you want to write into your lease an annual home inspection that you or your property manager can perform. Section 5.4 of the California Tenant Code states that a landlord or property manager can go into a tenant's residence for an emergency, a repair, or the last 30 days of the lease if they're showing the home to a prospective tenant or buyer. But when it comes to a home inspection, you need to write that into the lease. And the home inspection is crucial. This is when you or the property manager is going to go into the home. You're going to check for any kind of deferred maintenance. You're going to look at the smoke alarms, the carbon monoxide alarm. You're going to change the furnace filter. Make sure the tenant hasn't snuck in a pet or a roommate. It's very important that you write a home inspection into the lease. The 4th essential is renter's insurance. So no tenant can move into any one of our owners' homes unless they show proof of renter's insurance. And renter's insurance is for the benefit of the tenant as well as the owner. There's 3 parts to a tenant's renter's insurance. Cost maybe $30 to $40 a month for a family of 4. The first part covers their belongings if they're stolen. Number 2, it covers if they were to slip and fall in the home. And number 3, it covers them if they were to start a fire in the kitchen or flood the bathroom. Covers their liability there. All we are really concerned with for our owners is the last part of that renter's insurance: the fire in the kitchen or the flood in the bathroom. So we require that our tenants have a $100,000 minimum liability policy that covers that kind of accident. That way, if one does occur, it goes through their insurance company and not yours. Otherwise, your rates would go up. Also, you want to have in the lease, under the renter's insurance clause, this clause here: unless prohibited by law, resident waives any insurance subrogation rights or claims against landlord, owner, and their insurers. And this clause simply states that if there is a claim that needs to be made to the tenant's insurance company, the insurance company can't come back and sue you. Very important that this clause be put into your lease. Number 5, let's talk about lease renewal. All of our tenants are on a 1-year lease. At the end of 10 months with our tenant, we send them a notice saying your lease is expiring in 60 days. We'd like you to renew the lease, but if you're not going to, we need to know 30 days in advance. This is also a time when we send them a rent increase if one is necessary. So typically, if the tenant is going to vacate, we hear about it within 30 days, but sometimes the tenant stays and does not renew the lease, because we send a renewal notice out a couple weeks before the lease actually expires, and sometimes it's not signed by the tenant. So we have this in the lease that simply states, if we do not receive the lease renewal, nor do we receive a 30-day notice to vacate, your lease will expire and you will automatically revert to month, and your rent will then automatically increase by 10% per month. See, it's to our owner's advantage, and the tenant's advantage actually, that we always have a 1-year lease in place. It gives you peace of mind and security, knowing that your home isn't going to be vacated maybe in December when it's a little more difficult to rent. So we want our tenants on a year-to-year lease, but if they want the flexibility of month to month, they can have it. We understand tenants might have a possible move coming up, or they might be interested in buying a house, and so they want to go month to month. They're going to pay a premium of 10% on their rent. That gives our owners a little financial cushion, and it gives flexibility to the tenant. And then finally, you want to have in your lease the proper addendums. With all of our leases, we have an information on bed bugs addendum. This is a requirement as of January 1st, 2018, that every tenant in a rental property in California get a bed bug addendum. Second of all, we have our mold addendum. We have our lead paint addendum for homes built prior to 1978. We have our damage versus wear and tear addendum that has to be signed by the tenant. And then finally, we have our renter's insurance addendum. So our lease and these addendums are all available to you to look at and download and use if you'd like on our website under the owner resources menu item on our homepage. If you got any questions, call me, Mike, at 510-996-3238. Thanks for watching and good luck.